Hello everyone, welcome to Pregnancy and Birth Diaries. Today we will be talking about postpartum depression. Why do we have depression after giving birth, sometimes during pregnancy? What causes it? And what are the common symptoms and what you should do if you have postpartum depression? And we will be also talking about the differences between postpartum depression and baby blues. Okay, so we will be going through this article that is published on womenshealth.gov. I will leave the link for you down in the description below so that you can read more in detail. And there are so many other articles that are really useful on this website as well. So first, let's figure out what depression is. I mean, obviously, if you had depression, you know what it feels like. But if you never really had depression, then it is the feeling when you feel empty, you feel sad, you don't care about anything, nothing excites you, and it's just basically feeling numb. I myself did not have postpartum depression. It didn't happen to me, but I definitely had not after my first child. After having my first child, I don't remember having any kind of baby blues or anything like that, but I remember just being very, very exhausted, feeling like I was sort of, bound to home. Like I was really worried and stressed because I knew that my newborn depended on me, and I knew that I had to breastfeed him every 2 hours, and I was afraid to leave my apartment because I thought if I go somewhere without my baby, then oh my god, I have to be back in 2 hours, and if I'm not back, he's gonna go hungry. And that was very stressful, that just feeling that you are somehow trapped and you don't feel free. But I don't remember feeling depressed, if you know what I mean. I remember being super stressed and sort of tense in a way, but exhausted, really, really exhausted, but there was no depression. After having my second child, I had one day for about 15-20 minutes, I had this weird episode when I started crying, and I remember I cried because I felt like everything has changed. And before giving birth to my second child, we used to have this, we would put our oldest to bed, and we would have with my husband some quality time. We would watch something, and he would give me a massage, and it just felt like that period has ended. It just felt like I lost that quality time that we used to have, and it felt like we're never gonna have that kind of time again, and I just missed those days, and because of that changes, I think I had some sort of feeling of remorse, and I started crying, and but it was just 15 minutes, and then it just stopped, and I was just back to normal again. I don't know if this is baby blues. Maybe it is baby blues, because I was feeling really sad because of the changes that happened. But obviously I was super, super excited about having my newborn. My mom was here, and I think that it really does help if you have family around, supportive people around. Try not to have toxic people around you, especially, at all, but especially during your the newborn phase. You want really to have people loving and caring and supportive people around you. It's very, very important, and because you're really vulnerable, and at that period it's very important that you have people who are going to really help you and support you. And I think that this is one of the things that you might want to consider in terms of postpartum depression. Okay, so the difference between baby blues and postpartum depression is baby blues is, again, you feel sad, you feel empty, but it kind of goes away. Baby blues might last up to 2 weeks. But if it's more than 2 weeks, then that's definitely postpartum depression. So how common is postpartum depression? Here it says postpartum depression is very common. It happens to 1 in 9 new mothers. And yeah, it is very common, but also here it says that feeling hopeless or empty after childbirth is not a regular or expected part of being a mother. So postpartum depression is not regular or expected part of being a mother, but it is common, and it happens to 1 in 9 women who have given birth. So it's common, but it's not expected. I mean, this is what's on the article. Okay, so if you have any thoughts on that, comment down below. I'm super curious. Okay, let's scroll down. How do I know if I have postpartum depression? Feeling restless or moody. I definitely felt moody, especially because I couldn't really get enough sleep at night. It was just impossible, especially first 2 months. It's very stressful. Couldn't get enough sleep. I was very moody, but at the same time so happy and excited. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely felt moody. Feeling sad, hopeless, or overwhelmed. I don't remember feeling sad. I don't remember feeling hopeless, but I remember feeling overwhelmed. Especially again at night, because I wanted just to have a rest. I wanted to just take some time, because like I'm sure like everybody else, I really love spending time on my own, having my free time, having this me time. I love being on my own, have some tea, watch something, do makeup, or I don't know. But like you cannot do all those things, you know, unless you have like nannies and lots of help. And I definitely was overwhelmed and irritated a little bit, because all of a sudden my life has changed and I stopped having this me time. So yeah, I definitely had that. Crying a lot. No, I don't remember crying at all the first time. The second time, just for 15 minutes, that episode that I mentioned before, I did not cry. So I'm sure feeling moody maybe is okay, overwhelmed is okay, but just keep in check that these are the symptoms, could be, you know, leading to something. So, you know, crying a lot is definitely, you might want to pay attention to that if you're crying a lot. I don't remember crying at all. Having thoughts of hurting the baby, never had that thought ever, but it's one of the, it's just horrifying, honestly, really, really horrifying. And you definitely, if you have something close to that, you really need to call someone right away, call your doctor right away. Having thoughts of hurting yourself, again, very, very, you know, severe case. Not having any interest in the baby, not feeling connected to the baby, or feeling as if your baby is someone else's baby. I'm sure this is very severe case of postpartum depression, and if you never had that, you might be like, how is that possible? It is possible. So you might want to, you know, pay attention to your feelings, just to keep things in check. Having no energy or motivation. Having no energy, I don't remember having energy at all. Like it was, you know, tired. Motivation, I don't know. I was really excited. I was really happy. I was just like, you know, taking care of your baby. It's a really, you know, great time. It's, I mean, you will be exhausted, irritated, and moody. You're not getting enough sleep, but at the same time, you're going to be excited and happy. You will be like, you know, just, you know, having a newborn, it's amazing time. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. But it's just like gonna be, you know, you will be tired. So eating too little or too much, I remember eating fine. I think I was eating more than usual because I wanted to have enough milk supply to feed my baby. So I remember having, I think, slightly more than usual. Sleeping too little or too much. I don't know how is it possible to sleep too much. Again, if you're having postpartum depression, it is possible. So too little, oh God, like too little, how little is too little? Like I don't remember, neither me nor my husband, we didn't really get sleep. Like both times we didn't really get sleep, you know, for the first 3 months at all. But we were lucky, our kids started sleeping through the night, you know, after 3 months, you know. So the first 3 months was really, really just no sleep. But then things got better. But again, every kid is different. Having trouble focusing or making decisions. Honestly, it's just so normal. It's so common. I definitely having focusing or making decisions. But no, I don't remember it being really a problem. But because you're not really getting enough sleep, it definitely affects your ability of focusing on things. Like, you know, if you're not getting sleep, if you're tired, stressed, sure, you know, it's possible. It's possible that you're gonna have trouble focusing or making decisions, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're going through postpartum depression. But again, just make sure that it's one of the symptoms. Having memory problems, sure, again, you're not sleeping, you will be having memory problems. Feeling worthless, guilty, or like a bad mother. I don't remember feeling worthless, guilty, or like a bad mother at all. Like at all. Like I definitely am not a perfect mother. I definitely am not the best mother out there, but I never felt like a bad mother. I never felt guilty or worse ever. So I would say this is a very important point. This is important, I think. You might want to pay attention to that if you're feeling any of this, feeling worthless, guilty, or bad. Losing interest or pleasure in activities you used to enjoy. Yeah, sure. Again, your life changes. Like my life has changed, you know. I obviously, my interests changed, my taste in, you know, in my style has changed. Things change. You know, for me it was okay. Withdrawing from friends and family. I'm not sure. I cannot say anything. Like I don't think that I felt like withdrawing from friends and family. But definitely once you have kids, your circle of friends is gonna change, because your friends who do not have kids, and you know, it's really hard to coordinate, and obviously you want to talk about your child all the time, and I don't think that people who do not have kids would understand that. So yeah, I think like you're gonna have change in terms of your social life for sure. Having headaches, aches, pains, stomach problems that don't go away. I cannot say anything about that. I don't remember having any of that. So yeah, so I would definitely pay attention, okay? Pay attention to crying a lot, having thoughts of hurting your baby, having thoughts of hurting yourself, not having any interest in the baby, not feeling connected to the baby, or feeling as if your baby is someone else's baby. Okay, feeling worthless, guilty, or like a bad mother. Having headaches, aches, pains, stomach problems that don't go away. I would pay attention to these points. These are very important points. So here it also says that some women do not really talk about these symptoms. I think it's very, very important that you talk. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. Don't worry about being judged. Just talk about it. Talk. I think like the way when we talk, we somehow release emotions. We release this negative feelings. We just like share with the world. We just let it go. Talk. Like who cares if you're being judged, if you're being criticized? Who cares? Like everyone has something to criticize about. Like no one is perfect. Don't care. Just talk about it. Share if you're feeling bad, don't be embarrassed. It happens to everybody. Like everybody has something to be embarrassed about. Seriously, just feel free, talk about it. do not feel embarrassed in any way, like guilty or anything like that. It's okay. Just talk about it. And it's very important. And, you know, like, it might actually really help. Like, if you share, and if you're, you know, you're honest, and if you share, it might really be helpful. Like, you know, it's important. All right, so here we're going to go through some causes. So here it says hormonal changes may trigger symptoms of postpartum depression. Obviously, but again, it doesn't happen to everyone. Everyone goes through hormonal changes. Like, everyone. Giving birth is hormonal changes, but it doesn't happen to everyone. So, you know, if you're lucky, if you're unlucky, you're gonna get postpartum depression. So when you're pregnant, levels of female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, are the highest they'll ever be. So they will be super high. In the first 24 hours after childbirth, hormone levels quickly drop back to normal. So it goes really high during labor, during birth, and then boom, it goes back down. And I think that really messes up the way we feel. Researchers think that this sudden change in hormone levels may lead to depression. This is similar to hormone changes before a woman's period, the one that I had before. But obviously this involves much more extreme swings in hormone levels. So as it says here, it's like similar to when you have your period, you feel, you know, slightly weird before having your period. Like, I had depression. I had really, really real depression. I never had suicidal thoughts. I never felt bad or guilty or not worthy or anything like that. I just felt numb. I just didn't feel excited about anything. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't feel engaged to anything. But it was just like once a month thing. But now it's gone, thankfully. So this is what happens. This is what researchers think happens. This is why they think that this sudden changes, extreme changes in hormone levels causes postpartum depression. All right, now, so there might be other triggers of postpartum depression. So you're already going through some hormonal changes, but there are some triggers that might actually make it worse. Being tired after labor and delivery. So I remember I didn't sleep the night. Both of the times it started like at night. I couldn't really sleep. I didn't have any rest, and labor lasts long. You're gonna be super exhausted. You go through this birth, which is physically and emotionally really takes a toll on you. And then, I mean, and you don't really have a sleep. You don't really get a sleep, but you really right away need to take care of your newborn. You're still just gave birth. You haven't even started like healing, right? But you need to take care of a newborn. That's not an easy task. Okay, so this can contribute to the possibility of having postpartum depression. Tired from a lack of sleep or broken sleep, feeling overwhelmed, doubts about their ability to be a good mother. So I would definitely advise you not to feel any kind of doubts, because it is in us, it is inserted in us, it's there. We can do it. Like, we women, we have it in us. Once we have our baby, we will figure it out. We will be good mothers. It's there. So yeah, I don't think we should have any doubts. I don't remember having any doubts. I somehow knew that I'm gonna just figure it out. And once you have your baby, you're just gonna fall in love right there, right away. And, you know, that love and bond is just, you know, forever, and it's unconditional. Stress from changes in work and home routines. So I'm sure, like, maybe you could organize in advance, like in terms of work, and, you know, prepare some preparation in terms of, you know, like your professional life, and then home routines can help you to better cope with those changes after giving birth. Maybe, that could be a solution. And unrealistic need to be a perfect mom. I never had that, so I cannot really comment on that. I never had a need to be a perfect mom. Grief about loss of who they were before having the baby. I'm sure, I don't remember having any sort of grief or loss, but I remember, it was just very light and mild feeling of, because after giving birth, like, for example, the second point is feeling less attractive. You're gonna feel less attractive. I mean, seriously, your body has gone through changes. Like, I put on weight. I looked really different, all puffed up, all swollen, and my body is different, and you're gonna feel less attractive. I think, like, what helps is just to be ready for that. Like, it's temporary. You're gonna be back to normal. Just don't worry. You can do it. You just, it just need time. And as long as as you're prepared to what's to come, I'm sure it's possible. And lack of free time. I remember, like, having no me time. And I'm the kind of person who loves being, like, alone on my own. I just, like, love spending time on my own. It was tough, but honestly, like, having a baby is so exciting, and you just, like, having a baby makes you, I don't know, so special. It's just, like, compensates, I think. Are some women more at risk of postpartum depression? Interesting. So you might be at greater risk of having postpartum depression if you have history of depression or bipolar disorder, or if you have, like, depression in your family. If you don't have support of your family or friends, and then if you were depressed during your pregnancy as well. If you were depressed during your pregnancy, then there's a greater risk that it might continue on for the postpartum phase. So having problems with the previous pregnancy or birth, having relationship or money problems. If you are younger than 20, you're at a greater risk. Having alcoholism, using illegal drugs, or other kind of, problems with drugs. Having a baby with special needs. Having difficulty breastfeeding. Oh my God, the second time I had major difficulty with breastfeeding. I had a latching problem. My baby didn't latch correctly, and breastfeeding was extreme pain. It was so bad. I remember feeling really miserable first 2-3 weeks maybe. It was really bad. Thankfully I had a really good midwife, but, like, I think we call here in Berlin Hebamme, and she was so good. I was blessed to have her. She was more than anything that I expected from a Hebamme, and she really helped me. And I got shields. There's, like, nipple shields, and then over time the latch corrected itself. But I had some major problems. So you need to expect it. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it happened the first time. Nothing happened, no problem, no breastfeeding. Obviously you have cracked nipples in the beginning with breastfeeding, and it's gonna be painful, but it's just gonna go away. Seriously, like, after a couple of weeks it's gonna be fine. But when your baby doesn't latch correctly, oh my God, the pain is extreme. It's severe pain. And I had gone through that, and it was bad. So, if you have something like that, you might be at greater risk of having postpartum depression. Having an unplanned or unwanted pregnancy. So these are one of those risks. If you have one of these things, then you are at a greater risk of having postpartum depression. Baby blues is when you have just like sort of mood swings. You know, you're fine, but then you're not fine. You're irritated, annoyed, and it just kind of changes. You feel anxious, sad, or you get upset. Having like these episodes where you cry, losing appetite. You don't really want to eat anything, and when you cannot really sleep well, but then having trouble sleeping. But doesn't it happen to everyone? So yeah, so this is like kind of like a baby blues. But then if it lasts like longer than a couple of weeks, normally baby blues should go away in 2, 3, 5 days. But if it stays for more than 2 weeks, then you're having postpartum depression. So what should you do if you have postpartum depression? If those baby blues phase does not go away in 2 weeks, you need to call your doctor. And if you feel like you're not getting, because not all doctors, unfortunately, are helpful or understand. There are doctors who have no idea postpartum depression is, or they don't believe in postpartum depression. Seriously, it might happen. You know, you might go to see a doctor and he or she might be saying, you're gonna be fine, don't worry, or just do not believe you. And I heard some cases when, you know, they came and said, hey, like I'm having these symptoms, and they were just, you know, they were not taken seriously, or they were just like, oh, you're gonna be fine, don't worry, it happens to everyone. So if you feel like your doctor is just isn't being helpful, go see another doctor. Seriously, just go see another doctor. There are a lot of doctors who know a lot about it and who know what to do and who can refer you to, you know, other mental health professionals. Try to see different doctors, and you can always pick one, and, you know, depending where you are. I don't know how things are done, but like in Berlin, if you're not happy with one doctor, you can always go to another one, and it will be covered by these general public insurance. All right, now, so what you can do to sort of feel better, you need to rest as much as you can. You make sure you sleep when your baby sleeps. Don't try to take on too much on yourself, like too many tasks. Don't try to do everything yourself. Like in the beginning, I think like we as mothers, we want to care for our child so much that we don't trust others, and we just, you know, always want to be with our newborn, and we don't trust like a partner or family, or we don't want to give our newborn to the care of others. So I think like that's could be one of the reasons, because you're just like all the time with your newborn. That is just not good. So at least try to get some sleep. Like if you feel like you're tired, obviously make sure that the people you're leaving your newborn with are, you know, trustworthy, good, caring people. So with your partner, with the father of the child, with your mom or your dad, and make sure to have rest. Don't take too much on yourself, too many responsibilities. Just make sure that you have some me time, to have sleep, to have showers, some, you know, make sure you have the time on your own, to drink some tea or coffee. Maybe just go for even like a short walk, 20 minutes. Your baby is gonna be fine. Or live with your partner, your mom. Don't leave your child alone. And also what really might help is talk with other mothers so you can learn from their experiences. I was lucky that I have met in my second pregnancy, actually after giving birth, I have met other new mothers, and we used to meet like every month. And it was really helpful because I was in a foreign country. I didn't know anyone. My mom was here just for 2 months, I think. And then she went back home. So I really found that it was very good for me, like for my mental health as well, just having and chatting with other moms, listening to their stories, and just knowing that I'm not alone in this, and that everyone is going through pretty much the same. It just really helps. So maybe you might want to join, like on Facebook you can create groups where you make there are groups that is like due date, for example, due date January 2022. And then there are like everyone whose due date is in January 22, they join, and then you hang out, you meet, or maybe you can even, if you don't live close by, you can do maybe Zoom meetings, the video calls, and it's really, really helpful. Just give it a try. It's just having support groups. How is postpartum depression is treated? I really think that you might want to read it yourself, because it gets a little bit too technical for me. What can happen if postpartum depression is not treated? So untreated postpartum depression can affect your ability to be parent. So you may not have enough energy just to care for your child, not having trouble focusing on the baby's needs, your own needs, feeling moody, not being able to care for your baby, which is really, really bad, and having a higher risk of attempting suicide. So getting help is very important. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this link to this article down in the description below. Go check it out. All right, so I hope this was useful. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions, or if there are any other points that I have missed, and I'll see you in my next video.